Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a good day. Today we are studying Numbers chapter 7 in our 5-minute Bible studies. We do a study every day and we have free PDFs on our website. There's a link down in the description. Numbers 7. Who are our main characters? We've got Moses. I'm not going to reintroduce him at this point because we've been talking about him forever. We have there is some information on the PDF if maybe this is your first time with us. The next main group of characters, are the family of the Levites. The Levites were broken down into three families, the Kohathites, the Gershonites, and the Merarites, and they served the Lord in a special way by caring for the holy items in the tabernacle. Then finally, the chiefs of Israel. These men were, quote, the heads of their fathers' houses, and they acted as representatives for their tribes. There was one man from each tribe, and their names are listed there under the characters section, but I think for the sake of not putting you to sleep, we won't read all of them, and mostly just so I don't butcher the pronunciation. When did the events of chapter 7 happen? Well, it's important to pay attention here because we're actually going back in time. This chapter discusses the completion, anointing, and dedication of the tabernacle, which Exodus chapter 40 tells us occurred on the first day of the first month of the second year after Israel left Egypt. Therefore, these events most likely predated the events that we've already talked about in chapters 1 through 6. Now, there's no problem with that. Numbers never claims to be in chronological order, but just know we're actually probably stepping back in time a couple weeks maybe. In terms of a timeline, these events probably occurred about 1490 BC. What hasn't changed is our map. The children of Israel are still encamped at Mount Sinai in the wilderness of Sinai, and they're on their way north to the Canaan land, but not there yet. In the first section of chapter 7, verses 1 through 9, I'm going to talk about an offering of oxen and wagons for the Lord's service. So on the day when the Israelites finished erecting the tabernacle and Moses had anointed the holy things, the chiefs of Israel brought an offering of 6 wagons and 12 oxen. The oxen and the wagons were given to the Levites to assist with transporting the tabernacle when the camp of Israel traveled. 2 wagons and 4 oxen were given to the family of Gershon, and then 4 wagons and 8 oxen were given to the family of Merari. There were no oxen or wagons given to the family of the Kohathites, and the reason for that is because they were responsible for carrying and transporting the holy items that were within the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, the incense altar, the golden table, etc. And those items were only to be carried on the shoulders of the Levites using golden poles that had been constructed when those items were originally made. The bulk of this chapter is the next section, verses 10 through 89, through the rest of the chapter. And it talks about the offerings that were brought for the dedication of the bronze altar. You can see the bronze altar down on the diagram of the tabernacle. It sat in the courtyard of the tabernacle. To dedicate this bronze altar, the chiefs of Israel brought offerings every day for 12 days, and each chief brought the exact same gift. And I'm going to read you the gift straight out of the text because it's somewhat complicated. And his offering was 1 silver plate whose weight was 130 shekels, 1 silver basin of 70 shekels according to the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, 1 golden dish of 10 shekels full of incense, a bull from the herd, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old for a burnt offering, 1 male goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs a year old. That's verses 13 through 17. And you may have noticed that this chapter has 89 verses, and yet our outline is somewhat condensed, and the reason for that is because this exact offering was brought by every one of the 12 chiefs, and this exact same piece of text is repeated 12 times in chapter 7, which is why the chapter has 89 verses. But just know, this same offering that we just read was offered 12 times by a chief of each of the tribes of Israel. So then finally, in the very last verse, verse 89, tells us that Moses entered into the tabernacle and he heard the voice of God speaking to him from above the mercy seat, which, if you remember, that mercy seat sat above the Ark of the Covenant. So thanks everybody for tuning in to our study today in Numbers chapter 7. Remember to check out the diagram of the tabernacle and print off the PDF on our website, and check out the other studies that we have on there as well. Okay, until tomorrow, Lord willing, I'll talk to you later.